Good morning, everybody. Annalisa here. Okay, so the past few weeks, I've been covering my thoughts and meditation and discipline that I've put together over the years, and how we can apply deep breathing and vocal exercise to physical well-being. We've talked about the head, how to manage headaches and migraines and earache and hay fever. And in that same session, we covered the top of the back. We've done a session on back pain, so lower back pain, abdominal pain, and menstrual pain as well. And I covered a little bit about, I suppose, posture and legs and feet in my V-Day special. I kept it nice and brief, so I could do a little bit more of on the side of singing, but there's a little bit there. And then, I think that it sort of made sense to go from head, shoulders, knees and toes back up to the head, and therefore to the mind. Everything is it's all connected. It's all it all goes hand in hand. So in each session, I've probably mentioned how we heal one part of ourselves by re-establishing balance. So our mental well-being is tied to how our body feels, and I would imagine vice versa. So if we feel stressed, depressed, tired, our body, of course, suffers from the stress and mirrors that feeling through pain, and would imagine we're more susceptible to picking up bugs and illnesses because we are not quite as full of energy, shall we say, as normal. Okay, so the mind. First of all, I will say I'm not a doctor. I am not a psychologist or so on. My understanding of the body and the mind is entirely tied to years of introspection, observation, and learning as I go along, learning from my body, my life, and the people around me that I interact with. I very much observe how the application of certain practices can then affect people, starting with myself. So it's very much a self-proven thing. I don't really like. I do like to play about with theories, but they have to make sense. I like to I like to see them put to practice. Over the past couple of years, as many of you will know, and perhaps I've mentioned in the past, I've been running some vocal coaching for well-being sessions here on the Isle of Wight. And I have seen, right from my first pupil over the years, how people have really benefited. And you can see people's well-being change within the hour of the session, that they feel so much better. Even people suffering from ME and fibromyalgia, who thought they couldn't sit through or stand through, let alone through a whole session, they actually managed to do a whole session and feel energized by the end. So yeah, I'm learning as I go along, but there's clearly a lot of stuff there which makes sense, and yeah, it's great. So excuse me. So how does deep breathing and vocal exercise affect the mind? More than that, I think we'll go on a practical level. How can we apply the one to the other? I've mentioned in the past that all our senses function basically in the same way. Obviously, we use our eyes to see, our nose to smell, our ears to listen, and so on. But have a look at the way your eyes work. Let's observe. If we focus our eyes on something we want to look at, we will focus our vision so that that thing we're looking at will be very clear, and everything around it will become slightly out of focus, and it'll be our peripheral vision. Let's do that together. Perhaps start by looking at me on the screen. Whilst you look at my image on the screen, do you see me clearly? Hopefully my camera is good enough for you to see enough. What can you see? What about anything else in the room? Whilst you look at my image on the screen, can you see anything else? Is it as clear as my image? Some people they do have very good peripheral vision, especially I've come across some people who suffer from PTSD. They have heightened awareness, so you might find this exercise a bit tricky. Don't worry, that's okay. It's just a sort of practical exercise, just to sort of understand our senses. So normally you would see my image clearer. Now look beyond. If you're watching this video on your phone or on your computer, try and look behind it and see what else you can see. Now you should be able to still see me, but what previously was unclear and sort of out of focus is now clear because you're looking at it. And now my image will have gone out of focus. Is that right? Good. Now, that is how all of our senses work. You can, with your hands, you can choose what to feel. If you're looking for a needle on a carpet, you can listen out in a way with your hands for the different materials. And perhaps we don't realize it as much as we do with our vision, but we can heighten our sensation depending on what we're looking for. Whilst if you just walked over a needle on the carpet, you might not have noticed, unless you was pointing upwards. Our ears, our sense of smell is the same. Perhaps do that. Let's take a couple of breaths and try to pick up the smells in your room, in your house, or in your garden, depending where you are. Breathing normally, in and out. Really try to smell. I can smell my coffee over there. Interestingly, I couldn't really smell it a moment ago when I was concentrating on talking to you. Have you noticed anything that you couldn't quite smell a moment ago? Good. So, our ears work in the same way. Now, obviously, we have two ears that face in opposite directions. So most of the time, we hear sound that is all around us. Have you ever thought about the fact that we can hear the noise around us, and if you're trying to concentrate on anything, we're very often distracted by noise of perhaps word work going on outside, or somebody cutting the grass, or the kids playing, and it can be difficult to concentrate on anything because all we hear is noise. But let's have a think about what's inside us. There's an awful lot going on inside us. Blood rushing around all day, our heart pumping and all that. But can we hear any of that? Now, if our ears are there, we should be able to hear a fair bit of racket coming from the inside. if we can hear absolutely everything outside when we're trying to concentrate on anything. So, well, what we tend to do is that we tend to listen out. With both ears, we are focusing on the outside. So the first thing I would encourage you to do is learn to listen inwardly. It is actually fairly quiet inside us. You can't hear all the whooshing and washing of the blood. You can hear your breath when you breathe. But there are two ways in which we listen. We can listen in a relaxed manner with both of our ears. But when we tend to listen out, when we want to listen out for something, we focus our listening the same way we focus the lenses in our eyes when we want to focus on something we want to see. But the way we do that is, have you ever noticed? If you want to listen out for something, we tend to do that. Or even without lifting our hand, we will draw all our muscles and all our attention towards one ear. What happens to the other? Now I will show you. If you watch my face, I will talk to you whilst I'm listening, and I'm trying to listen whilst focusing my listening. Now, can you see? I'm trying to listen and I'm sort of left-eared. I'm listening that way. Can you see? I'm struggling to look at the screen now. As much as I'm trying, I'm also trying to listen. So I find it very difficult. Also, the side of my face, which is closest to the ear that's listening, is all scrunched up and tense, whilst the other side is relaxed. Now, what's happened there? All of the muscles in my head, have focused their attention on the left ear so that I could hear what I was listening out for, even if it is my own voice. I think it's something we do subconsciously. Now, I'm going to listen to my voice, but I'm going to listen to my voice with both ears. And there are two ways I can do that. I can either focus on my favorite way that I encourage people, but also I find it a relaxing way, certainly for meditation, is to listen with both ears to the core, so that my voice happens, but I am focusing my listening with both ears towards my core. I'm concentrating on my breath. And actually, you can see I am now looking straight ahead and my face is relaxed. My voice is that little bit deeper and warmer because I'm no longer thinking so much about what I'm saying. I know what I want to say. So the words come out naturally because I've sort of taken the pressure away a little bit. And I'm just focusing on the resonance of my voice into my chest and the peace that gives me. Another way I could listen with both ears would be to listen to the sound of my voice in the room. As we speak, as we sing, the sound comes out of our body and bounces off the walls and furniture around us. So the sound of our voice is in the room, everywhere. So we don't need to focus our ear to listen. We can just relax and with both ears be aware of the sound. That allows the body to be symmetrical, to be relaxed, and for us to still be focused on what we're talking about. I can still concentrate on what I'm saying, and at the same time, I can check that I'm not putting faces at you. I can watch myself. If I could see you, I could concentrate on your body language whilst I'm talking, because I'm not listening to the words. I'm more focused on anchoring myself, checking my breath, and making sure that what I'm listening to is now equally important to everything else around me. However, having done that, what that does is that you can hear better because you're using both ears. You're aware of more stuff because you're using both ears. And you're also bringing things into balance. So you're not focusing on just the words. You're allowing peripheral sound and vision and everything else to sort of work together, which does mean that you could be more alert, that if there's anything that needs your attention, you could react because you could see it, because you're not focusing on just the one thing. But it has also made what you're listening to as loud as everything else. So if you do find that there's a lot of noise around and it distracts you, listening with both ears and balancing that attention span can increase your focus and self-anchoring on your voice and on your mind. That's the next thing. So voice and mind are so close together that by learning to listen, meditating perhaps on how we listen, can then lead to our mind being more relaxed. Now, our mind is also a sense in its own right. So our mind works in the same way. We can choose what to focus on. We can decide whether to allow all of our thoughts to be in our mind at the same time. Or we can learn to make space in ourselves and not compartmentalize. We don't want to do that. Really, we want to be able to access all of our feelings and emotions and memories and things we need to do. But we want to not be overwhelmed by all the things that are in our head. So we can practice that same balance towards our mind. That is where our breathing and vocal exercises come to play. We'll do some in a moment. So what we're aiming to do is start with a deep breathing and listening with both ears towards our core. We will listen to our breath and we will anchor ourselves within ourselves and into our core through the deep breathing. As we develop the warm-up towards the humming and vocal exercise, we will build up that anchoring and warmth and energy from our core outwards, allowing it to grow rather than moving the focus from inside to out. We're going to start from ourselves, build up our own energy so that then we are nice and strong and we can then look out, listen out, and observe everything around us with that anchoring that gives us strength and therefore more confidence to then face whatever it is that we come across in the outside world. We can then use sound, singing, speaking sometimes as well. But certainly the vocal exercises are a way of familiarizing ourselves with what our body can do, how we can make the sound and how we can make us feel, and what we can do with it, how we can use it. We can enjoy the vibrations we're producing because we are singing into ourselves. But right now, even as I'm talking, I'm breathing to my soft palate. My cheeks are up. So there's plenty of space, and the vibrations of my voice, which is quite well projected. I tend to be quite loud, but without shouting. The vibrations of my voice, I can feel them right into my chest. And as I'm breathing deeply, I can feel the lower part of my rib cage expanding every time I'm breathing. So I can feel that my whole body is taking part in the discussion, in what I'm saying and when I'm singing. It is the body working as an instrument rather than having all the pressure up here in my head. Yeah, so let's do some exercises and we'll see how we can take that. I should have a quick sip of my coffee because I've done a lot of talking. Excuse me. I do hope you have a drink as well. It is very important to keep hydrated. And I'm also very much in favor of my Friday sessions, even when they're out and about. I usually have my sessions on Moncton Arts when we're not in lockdown. I'm very much in favor of people taking the session as their own. You need to be relaxed. So grab a cup of coffee, glass of water, herbal tea, whatever. And we tend to do some exercises, then have a bit of a chat. People are welcome to take a sip of the drink. Then we do some more exercise. It's about taking control of ourselves so that what we do, we can do well because we can put all of ourselves in what we do because we've taken time to energize. So I shall stand. Lovely. So let's start with some deep breaths. I think what we'll do the candle exercise. I quite like that. I don't know if it's a thing. I think I came up with the candle exercise. It just happened one day when I was thinking, oh, now what? I'll tell you how it happened. A little bit of trivial knowledge. When I ran my classes on Fridays and Moncton Arts here in Wight, the ladies kindly let me use the art gallery, which is not very big. It's a beautiful art gallery, but it's probably time and a half the size of my living room. And every week or two, they have a different exhibition. So quite often it's paintings, and it's fine. We have loads of space. For a week, they had, I think it was a potter. So they had various plinths and cabinets in the middle of the room with pots balanced on top. So I had to come up with an exercise. Well, usually I say, make sure you can swing your arms and not hit anything. We couldn't do that. It had to be an exercise that we could do, focusing very much on ourselves and on stillness. But it's quite a good one. So let's stand nice and tall, as if we were a candle. Let's focus on our core, right in the middle there. And imagine, visualize the wick of the candle going, the outside bit will be just behind your nose and eyes. And the candle will be the rest of your body, from the top of your mouth down to the ground. And visualize that wick going all down the center, down to the bottom, and out to the top. Stand nicely tall, as if your head was reaching up towards the ceiling, so that your spine is not crushed, nice and relaxed, and nice and tall. So we want to breathe into our soft palate. If this happens to be the first time you hear me talk about this and you don't know what a soft palate is, have a little feel with your tongue at the roof of your mouth. That's your hard palate. If you keep feeling with your tongue towards the back, you will feel a soft membrane that is the soft palate. We stretch it naturally when we yawn or when we gasp. So focusing into the wick of your candle, focusing into your core, right down the middle. Let's breathe into the soft palate through the mouth, and we'll move our arms like so as we breathe in, and then back gently as we blow the air out. So breathe in and out. Breathe in and out, and visualize the candle lighting. Now visualize the light starting to happen in your head and radiating outside. Breathe in and out. As we carry on with our exercises, visualize the warmth of that flame radiating down the wax of the candle, therefore down into your core, into your body. And most importantly, the light that that flame brings. As it grows more confident, it will radiate light further and further around us until the whole candle is covered in light, and so is the room. So one more breath, nice and big, breathe in and out. Let's start with a hum, making it nice and nasal, our lips apart. We'll hum on an on an N sound, so that we really concentrate the vibrations towards our nose and our sinus, and visualize the light, the sound as light radiating through our eyes, through our forehead, through our ears, like this. Together. Back down the scale. Again with me. And lock your knees. So we can do the same exercise. We'll go up the scale and down the scale, breathing between the two. And as we sing, ease your weight into the ground. So bend your knees ever so slightly so that your weight, your breath, and sound is channeled right through your body, both beyond your head and into the ground, until it comes back in both directions in towards your core. So we are focusing on our core, creating that energy and allowing it to grow and build up, and really enjoying it and experiencing it, So on. Once more. Last time. Breathe normally. Relax. Very good. How did you find that? You should have found that by producing the hum on an sound, but also focusing on your core, you were acting both in the breath and the sound from your abdominal muscles. Now, as our candle is lit, we look around. Now visualize that the space that has been lit up is a greenhouse. Now, I often use this metaphor, perhaps, of the greenhouse as a way of visualizing ourselves, our sense of self. Although on a physical level, we see and feel, we can see that limited body that makes up ourselves. And we know that we have the brain in our head and the head is only so small and so on. You can feel your thoughts, your dreams are so much bigger than your body can hold. It's interesting. I can get different answers. I used to ask people when I first started, sharing my sessions with other people. I used to ask, how big are you? If I was to ask you to describe what's your size, so often I used to get the answer, oh, I'm far too fat, far too big, I take up too much space. Some people who are more confident will say, oh, I take endless amount, and in the community and in the world. In actual fact, whether you are confident or whether you do feel like a little mouse taking up weight, way too much space as it is, and you would like to just shrink and disappear and under the floorboards. We are all bigger than what we look. On a very basic logical level, scientific level, shall we say, we know that blood flows around the body and it produces heat. Heat, as we know, rises, expands. So even just out of the simple heat that our blood is producing and us breathing all the time, there's at least that much that you can add to the size of your body from the heat that's escaping. On top of that, we are made, 90% of water? The heat and the water, it's being released from our body. The moment we make any kind of sound travels. It reaches up as far as it can go. So if we try and visualize ourselves as a lot bigger, I find it quite helpful still to visualize myself as a sort of finite being, but perhaps like a sphere, like a marble, which is see-through, and the body is the colored bit in the middle. But the greenhouse, I feel, is a great, I've got the word in my head, it's right there. Something, it's not coming out. Imagine yourself as a greenhouse, as a meditative exercise that you can then take away with you during your day. You can sort of sit there in your subconscious, you can feel like a greenhouse. It's a good way of reassigning our everything that is crammed into our mind to different parts of ourselves in the sense of space. Because if we think of thoughts, memories, worries, good things happen to us, bad things that happen to us, caring for people, and we cram everything in our head because we're constantly either thinking about it or affected by it, and perhaps on a subconscious level, because we know that our brain sits on the top of our head and it's not that big, and that's where everything happens, where our mind happens, then on a subconscious level, that is where we cram everything, and that's why we get stressed and we get headaches. But if we visualize ourselves as a greenhouse, we can then reassign various the various aspects of what is contained within our mind to the various parts of our greenhouse. So have a little feel around with your arms and visualize the glass roof of your greenhouse, and imagine that's your head. The glass roof right far above, you can't reach it. You're nowhere near, your fingers are nowhere near. And the sunlight that shines through the glass roof, it shines in through your eyes and it lights the lower part of the greenhouse where you can see the green leaves, the blossoms, perhaps some butterflies here and there, perhaps some birds if you like, if you want to see more life in this greenhouse. And this could be your voice box and your heart. From the lower part of your heart to your abdomen, you can see that as perhaps the stronger part of the plants, the tree trunks, or depending on what sort of plants you visualize in your greenhouse. I have some beautiful fuchsia in my garden, and a jasmine plant that both started from very small, but as they grow, the lower parts of the plants that started out as quite a green and young, almost reed-like plant is now more of a trunk. So visualize that part of your greenhouse as your past and your worries and things which are lower down, but they're what supports you. And right by your feet, your roots, visualize the soil. And you can mentally, with your arms, put that soil into place and visualize it. Look at it. And if that is your self, the soil can be your past. It can be any fears. It can be any bad experiences, any mistakes, particularly everything which is negative. You might be one of those very lucky people that hasn't had anything happen that was bad in their lives. It's very unlikely. Everybody has something that they're unhappy with, perhaps some choices that they would much rather have made differently. Well, everything in our lives can help us grow. So see that soil, perhaps with the worms in it, and everything, being alive and feeding into the energy of the whole greenhouse. Yeah. So play with that idea in your mind as we do the following exercises. We'll start with io, 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 a. I'll put a tune to that in a minute. In Italian, io means I, me, myself. So throughout this exercise, focus on your core, associate your self, your I with the greenhouse. And as we sing ah, release that enjoyment of the space. And if you're not too sure about yourself, try and just use that exercise to sing me, 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 me. Ah, I love myself. Because it may not be perfect, but it's our lives. No one else's. we need to live it. So we are important. We must love ourselves. Yeah. So like a tree, like a candle, whatever, nice and strong, we'll go. Together. Really root yourselves into the ground. Two more. Deep breath. We'll go up the scale a little more, but we'll change the exercise slightly to whether you do that as a portamento, as a sort of swoop up and down, or if you'd rather just do it as a direct bounce up and down, that's up to you. Let's really enjoy the release of going towards that high note and coming back together on Deep breath. And the other one, deep breath. Let's have a little gentle stretch of your neck. And left to right. Let's bring some, if you've been standing still and strong for such a long time, bring a little movement onto your legs and your ankles. And then you can take that energy, that space, that release that you've achieved by anchoring yourselves in your core, visualizing yourself, reaching out, taking your worries and your views and your feelings and your excitement and everything out of your body into your beautiful greenhouse that is now yourself. You can go for a little walk. Let's go for a walk to where? It's May. Let's go to the beach and visualize the blue sea, the blue sky, sailboats, if you like, or perhaps just a peace and quiet. Birds, seagulls, eating someone else's chips, not yours. And we'll go, I've had a dream about this, doing, teaching people vocal exercise. It's not so much a vocal exercise as it's just sort of relaxing the lips. It goes like this. So we've given it a tune. But basically, your lips are close together, and it's a t kind of thing. Okay, give it a go. You can do any tune you like. How about Twinkle Twinkle Little Star? So that's sort of making sure that all of our muscles are nice and relaxed, the blood is flowing everywhere, and bringing our awareness, so raising our awareness of our edges. So not just the tips of our fingers and our toes and everything, but also our face, making sure that our face is alert and aware and ready to pull faces and use your expressions. This is great. I see so many people these days are sharing their singing, and whether it's talent or just passion, and they want to sing for the world. And a lot of, particularly I think sometimes very young people, they've got a passion for singing, they want to be singers, but they need to smile, they need to engage the audience, and they don't, in their fear that they want to hide, and they don't want to be seen, so they turn their face into a mask and just don't release any expression. Go for it, be yourself, be your expression, and the face should just sort of lead the way for the rest of the body. So good. Fantastic. So what else? Another one you could do. You know, see, I live in Ryde on the Isle of Wight, and usually a couple of times a year there's Lambretta days, and you know, everybody gets their scooters out, and you can hear them all over the island, and then they gather along the beach, and you can go and look at these beautiful old Lambrettas, or ones that have just been done up, all glamorous and modern and everything like that. So it's beautiful. And all you can hear is the noise. But it's beautiful because it happens in the summer. Sun is usually shining and people are just passing and having fun. So let's visualize that. Let's still focusing on our core. Get on your Lambretta. And we'll go. Together. Oh, can we throw a tune in? Torna Sorrento, why not? Do you know it? It goes like this. I shan't go into the chorus because I can't feel my lips anymore. Lovely. Let's take a big breath. And you can go off and sing whatever you like. Can I sing something? I think I'd like to after that. I don't know. I usually sing a song at the end of these sessions, and I prepare a list of stuff that I can choose from. Now I don't know what I want to sing. I had, because as you can see, if you've seen past videos, there's usually a bookshelf with all my music stuff on it. No, it's now a pile of wood because my husband is still building the shelf, so I need to go and dig out my music. So I have my Maria Callas collection. I don't feel like singing opera this time in the morning. I haven't got the energy, and I get such bad hay fever. But what can I sing? I quite like Qui la voce. I'm not going to sing the... is it called Cavalletta? Do you know Qui la voce? I'll go stand over there. So keep moving, keep dancing, visualize you are on a beach somewhere, whether it's the Isle of Wight or Naples or somewhere, and you're enjoying a beautiful granita or gelato or ice cream. And I shall just sing. Mi chiamò e poi sparì, quel giurò essere fedele, quel giurò e poi crudele. Poi crudele e mi fuggì. Mai più qui assorti insieme, mai più qui assorti insieme. He then goes on to a lovely coloratura bit, which I don't have the energy for, but I shall give you a bit of a taster. you. I love this song. Will I ever be able to sing that part? No. I sort of pitched it a bit lower. I'm not singing with an accompaniment, so, but I like it. I love it, and it's beautiful. Poor woman's gone mad in the opera. She's thinking, "Oh, he's broken my heart. He's left me," wanting to come back and dance with me and smile to love. But it's beautiful. It's beautiful music. It's from I Puritani. The character is, it escapes me. This time in the morning, I think lockdown is really, for me, it's fantastic because I'm not a morning person. I am very much like most opera singers ought to be, a night owl. So anyway, thank you very much for your time. If you have listened, or if you, whether you were with me or if you watch this video be later on, thank you. If you found anything interesting or useful in the video, please do share with friends, family, and anybody who you think would benefit. And yeah, I'm not sure whether I will keep doing my Friday live streams on YouTube or whether I've done enough to just sort of give some idea of what I do. It depends how I'm doing. I think during lockdown, other than a bit of teaching here and there, I'm not really doing anything work-wise. So I can't teach my groups. I don't do Zoom and things like that. I don't know. I think what it is that most of the people that normally come to my classes don't do Zoom, or they don't necessarily do stuff online. And yeah, so we'll see. Well, if you want to hear more, if you have any questions, any comments, please leave a comment below. If there's anything you'd like me to cover in a future live stream, any questions you have that perhaps sort of lead to another session, then I'll be back next week, 11 o'clock as usual. And I have been doing a live stream on Wednesdays on Facebook, that for some reason this week Facebook wouldn't let me do the live stream onto Facebook, so it happened on YouTube. So you never know. If you follow this channel, please do subscribe. You might just find me popping up on your screen in the middle of the week somewhere. Do enjoy and have a lovely day. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.